This is a solution question to the National 5 2015 Paper 2 question 10. And we've got the pendulum of a clock swings along an arc of a circle with centre O. The pendulum swings through an angle of 65 degrees, which we can see is indicated here at the top of your diagram. And we're told that the length of the arc AB, so this length along the bottom, that is 28.4 centimetres. And what we're asked to calculate is we're asked to calculate the length of the pendulum. So we're asked to calculate this part here. Now, the question does talk about arc length. So what it might help you to do first is let's think about the formula for working out arc length. Now, obviously, if we had a full circle, your arc length, that outside of your circle would be part of your perimeter, and your perimeter is going to be based on the formula C equals pi d, but we don't have a full circle, so to get the fraction of the circle, remember, it would be whatever the angle is divided by, in a full circle, you have 360 degrees. Okay, so that's basically our formula, and what we're going to do is we're going to substitute in everything that we can here. So we know from the question that our arc length is 28.4, so I'm just going to substitute that in. We also know our angle there at the centre, which is 65. There are still 360 degrees in a full circle. Then we're going to multiply by pi, which is just a number, and then this d, we don't know anything about the diameter of a circle, but the diameter is, if I knew what the diameter was, hopefully you recognise that that would help you get the length of the pendulum, because that would actually be half of your diameter, okay? Because looking at the diagram, that's really a radius. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to rearrange this formula to get the d on its own. So if we have a look, we've got a divide by 360 here. So if I take that to the other side or get rid of it, you need to do the opposite of dividing, which is multiply. So I've got 28.4, I'm going to multiply that by 360. Then what I've got is this d has been multiplied by pi and by 65. So to undo that, remember the inverse operation of multiplying is dividing. So you're going to divide by 65 pi, and you can put a wee multiply in between them if you want. And that way you would have d on its own. Now, one hand, I would just, when you're putting this on your calculator, you might want to just put a bracket around your numerator. So if you want to just put this straight into your calculator, so 28.4 times 360, so use brackets or press equals, then divide by, please make sure you open a bracket here, so it's 65 multiplied by pi, or just 65 pi, because if it makes each other, it does mean multiply, and that would give us that our diameter is 50 point, now on my calculator it's coming up 0.676, blah blah blah. Now what we want is the length of the pendulum, which means I'm actually going to half this figure. So if I half this, and the question doesn't mention anything about rounding, so let's just do it to one decimal place, that would be 25.0, and it is just a length, so your units there would just be centimetres. Okay, so let's have a look to see what those 4 marks are awarded for. So for the first one, correct fraction of the circle, 65 over 360, which we have there. You then multiply that by pi times d, which equals 28.4, so you'd get 2 marks for basically that line of working. Know how to solve the equation, so you're just rearranging that equation there, and then what we're going to do, so for rearranging and then getting your length of 25. Now, you'll have a quick look, there are quite a lot of notes there at the bottom, so perhaps if you've tried this on your own, you didn't get full marks, you might want to read through that, and then it'll help you get an understanding of exactly what the marks are awarded for, okay? But hopefully that makes sense to you.